So I'm going to attempt a writing vlog, I guess. Before I do any of the fun writing vlog stuff, I really just wanted to talk about my experience with writing and how I've been feeling lately, because lately I'm gonna try really hard not to cry during this. Lately I've been very angry with myself for my lack of, I was gonna say motivation, and it's really a lack of confidence, because I do have a lack of motivation, but it's not laziness, and I really have to think about where that lack of motivation comes from, and it comes from the fact that I don't feel like a writer. Even though I've been writing for a really long time. I was 11 when I first discovered that I liked writing short stories. It was 6th grade, and I had a teacher, Mrs. Lewis, we'll never forget her, had us just occasionally write stories, and it was the first time I ever tried writing fiction. And for anyone who wants to do the math, that was 20 years ago. I wrote my first novel at 17 or 18, something like that. I had started it when I was 16, kind of. I wasn't paying attention in class and wrote what would be the opening scene. Since then, I've written 6 novels. 6. I feel like I need to keep saying that out loud. I wrote 6 novels. I mean, at this point, I've had a number of people read. Novel number 3 has been read in full. I have queried for that one quite a bit. I got 2 full manuscript requests. On that, which was a really big deal. Stepping back, I don't think it's what I want to be my debut, and I see where I've grown since that. I mean, that was novel number 3. I've written 3 novels since that one. And I've had people read a lot of other random writing chapters here and there, because I'm always bouncing between projects and not really sure which one I want to focus on, because none of them feel good. I mean, if I'm really digging, that's where I'm at. One of the best compliments I've ever gotten, and I've gotten it from multiple people now, is that when they read my writing, they tell me that they feel like they're reading an actual book. It feels so good to hear, but no matter how many times I've heard it, when I look at my own writing, it still looks like that chapter that a 16-year-old girl wrote in history class because she didn't want to pay attention. And I know it's not. Objectively, I know it's not. My first novel, I queried for my first novel when I finished it at about 18, 19, something like that. I'm not sure. By the way, I have thought about talking about what it's like to query in 2007 compared to now. I think that might be a fun discussion if anybody is interested in that. There's not a lot of differences, but they're very big, the differences that exist. I understand why there was no positive feedback on that novel, because it was terrible. I had no training. I'd never taken a writing class. I'd never really written anything extensively before, but I sat down and I wrote a very long, too long novel and tried to get it out into the world. And in the over 10 years since then, I wrote 5 others. But I'm still sitting here watching so many people run past me and get agents and sell their books, and it's incredible, and I'm so happy for them. And I refuse to move because I've so convinced myself that I don't belong up there with them. But if I took like the summer, like if I just sat down this summer and was like, let's do it, let's focus on all my writing, I could have 4 polished manuscripts by the fall. Like 4 polished, ready to go to agents, ready for me to like start thinking about querying. Just ready if I just sat down and did it. But they still I just don't feel worthy, I guess. That's where I'm at. Anyway, I wanted to just say all of this because it's been in my head for so long, and I feel stuck. But I will keep going. I wanted to vlog this weekend because I've just thought about doing writing vlogs and hadn't before, and this weekend I have some writing friends who were excited to potentially write this weekend, so I don't know what that was. I'll also probably show you my mood boards that I have for 4 of the novels. I say I've written 6. I have. The first 2 are so horrendously terrible. Maybe one day I'll sit down and I'll talk about the 2 of them, because that was like me figuring out how to write a novel. At this point, I'm no expert, but I'm like I have like a system. Like I know how to sit down, plot it, draft it, work it, you know, it's like I have a system now. But those first 2, wow. And they're lost to time. They don't exist anymore. My first one I'm actually kind of rewriting now, I guess. The plot's completely different, but I liked the characters so much that I just kind of plucked them out and put them in an entirely different story, and that's what I'm working on. I don't like Pinterest, so I do like doing mood boards, so I just make physical mood boards and they stare at me from my desk all the time, so I'd like to show you those. I have no idea what else a writing vlog entails. Do I just start screaming? I already almost cried in front of you all, so I will try to work on getting some kind of confidence in this. I don't know how, because the imposter syndrome is so real, and I just keep looking at these books and loving them in a way, but in another way feeling like they don't belong in the world, and probably because I feel like I don't belong in the world. Hopefully I take you along for the weekend, even if it's just to occasionally show you my cats and my husband. I wish I could bake something this weekend, because that's fun too. That feels like it would go with a writing vlog, right? I just made banana bread. I'm so sorry. I could show you the banana bread. I'll just eat the banana bread on camera. Is that a good vlog? Okay, it's like a whole new day. It's now Saturday. I guess the official beginning of trying to have a writing weekend. That's my sink. Probably should have moved that first. Yes, sweetie? Can I help you? I don't know what that means. What do you want? I think I'm gonna write with my Italian friend Chloe in like an hour, so I'm gonna have coffee and breakfast. And then maybe I'll show you my mood boards that are downstairs. I think that'll be a good time. Overall, I'm just gonna write on and off throughout the day and try to learn how to vlog with John here. He's asleep right now, so like it's fine, but hello. Yes. I am currently editing, kind of, my work in progress. I wrote the first draft for NaNoWriMo and then continued with it in another NaNoWriMo? I don't remember. And then I realized it was going to be way too short, which has never happened to me before with a project. I always end up writing too much. So to get towards the end and be like, this is going to be like 60,000 words, that was like massive. Do you want to get down? So I added some point of views, which at first I was a little apprehensive about, and now I think it's working out, maybe. I don't know. You never know. But I am enjoying it, and the 2 point of views that I've been writing, my protagonist and then the new one, I'm gonna meet soon, which is exciting. I think it'll like flow so much better to see their chemistry together. I then have to decide whose point of view it's going to be from when they're in the same room, which I haven't had to do that yet because they're always apart. I think that could be a tough one. I think for the most part it's like always going to be my protagonist. I mean, like most of the book is from her point of view, and the chapters that aren't tend to be shorter. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's what I'm doing today. I did some writing. Well, I edited a chapter, and that was a struggle at first. It's definitely one of those, like, my writing is crap days. If you've ever written, you know you have these days. Like, literally, I read this chapter last night, and it felt fine. And then this morning, or whenever I was reading it, and it didn't feel as fine. But I got through. I edited it. It'll probably need another pass. Anyway, then I had lunch, and then cleaned a little, and then watched some great British baking show, because I got distracted. I think Sarah might want to write together. I'm not sure. She kind of seemed iffy. Often when we write together, we also will, like, occasionally reward ourselves with, like, video games. So, and I'm, like, jonesing for that. My two characters in the novel I'm working on right now met playing League of Legends, and they talk about it all the time because they still, like, play League together, like, every night. And we play League together, like, every night. Me and Sarah and, like, a few other friends. So writing about it, I just want to play some League. I'm at a point now where I have to add a chapter, and those are always really hard. If you're ever in the drafting point, write too much. Put too much in there. If you ever think this is too much, I don't care. Put it in. It's so much easier to take things out than to add them and make it feel natural. Nico's about to jump on the couch and probably knock over the phone. Okay, step one. Actually, I'm in his spot right now. I'm sorry, sweetie. Did I propel? Alright, I have to go. He's upset. Okay, lighting here's just gonna be shit, and I just gotta accept it. I did write a little bit with Sarah. I plotted out, I'm at a point where I have to add a chapter. How many times have I said this? Anyway, plotted out the chapter, started it, found myself in a hole, brainstormed it while washing my hands, and I think I figured it out. What is it about, like, cleaning your body that you, like, work out all your plot holes? But I got wine now, because it's that time. Tomorrow, what is Sean doing tomorrow? Oh, he has D&D tomorrow. Great. I felt a little awkward about showing you my mood boards and talking about them, because I feel like that's going to be a big chunk of the blog. I feel like I'm just going to, like, word vomit all of my thoughts and feelings on those 4 projects that are hanging up in my office. So, but yeah, I didn't really want to word vomit them while he can hear me, because I just would feel self-conscious. Probably just gonna listen to music. I keep listening to the What We Do in the Shadow soundtrack because it's so helpful, and the show has been really helpful as far as motivation goes. I need more vampire comedy material, by the way. If anybody has it, like, I'm desperate for, like, comedic vampire content, because that's what I'm writing, and I love it. Vampires just lend themselves to comedy, and everyone keeps writing them so seriously. Why? Vampires are ridiculous. They scream comedy. Please, please start writing them more comedically. Hello, it is Sunday now. I didn't do anything else last night. It's 11 o'clock now. I'll probably bother Sarah throughout the day until she writes with me. My goal is I'd like to finish that chapter I started yesterday. This is a newer point of view, so the voice has been a little bit tougher to figure out. She's a bit more serious, but I'm sort of like, with the 2 new point of views, I have, like, this one character who's a little bit more serious than my protagonist, and then I have one of the antagonists is from his point of view. Just every once in a while we peek in on him, nothing major. So what I've kind of been doing is having, like, the narration troll them a little bit. So I don't know if that's right for my, like, 3rd-person narrator to have a bit of a personality on their own, but that's kind of what's been working for me, and been getting it to flow and kind of keep the lighter kind of comedic tone that I want throughout the story. But first, we're gonna go downstairs, and I'm gonna show you the 4 mood boards I have for the 4 novels that I've been working on. We'll go in order. John's playing in Dungeons and Dragons with a fairly large group of people. on his computer. His office is kind of next to mine, and I don't have a door, so we might hear some random D&D yelling. Ignore the 2 empty boxes of wine there. Well, we don't need to talk about that. It's less that I drink too much wine and more that I'm very lazy. Okay, so this is the mood board for the Putnam Phantom, it was called, or is called. It was my 3rd novel. It is a young adult paranormal murder mystery. Putnam's kind of like my Derry, Maine, is what I found about myself. It is a very small town in Connecticut, kind of right on the border of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. It is a small town that my husband is from. So I like Putnam a lot, and we've been there a lot, and whenever I need like a small town setting, which is a shocking amount because I really like a nice small town setting for particularly thrillers and horror and stuff like that. So that worked out pretty well. I started it not with the intention of having a scene. Normally when I plot a novel, I have like a scene in my head and I kind of build from there. But in this case, I was going to write a high fantasy novel, of which the plot is somewhere over there, because I also have plots for other stories written out aside from these 4 novels. We had a ferret and he passed away, and I was so sad and didn't really want to plot out high fantasy. So kind of at the last minute, I decided to do something else, and I thought, what is my comfort zone? And that's horror, I guess, and it somehow turned into this paranormal murder mystery. I really wanted to write about serial killers and ghosts, and there are witches and everything that I write as well, because I love witches, and I dabbled in witchcraft back in the day. I don't really now anymore, but it's something that I still really, really love and have a lot of respect for. So I wrote the first draft of this, hated it, and then I read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and I loved the like informal kind of comedic tone to it, and I went with that. So much of this novel is centered around my protagonist Mal, who is just kind of irritated and done and potentially being hunted by like a mystical phantom serial killer, and she's just really annoyed by that. So that's kind of the tone I went for. I've been querying for this one, or I queried kind of a bit. I got 2 full manuscript requests, which was a really big deal. I never had that before. But I'm kind of pulling away from it a little bit as I pull away physically. Hello, baby. Are you watching? Moving on to my 4th, yeah, this is novel number 4. I confuse it sometimes because I initially did start writing it after my 2nd novel. It was totally different, although a lot of the gist was really the same, but it was mostly the characters that were different. I didn't click with them, and so I kind of put it away until I went to film school. And in film school, I had to write, I took a screenwriting class, and we had to write 2 short films, very short at some point. And my first one, I just kind of threw it together, and I clearly didn't have a passion for it. And my second one, I was like, well, let me take a novel idea and see if I can make it like 10 pages. And it went really well, like shockingly well. My teacher didn't think I was going to be able to do it, I guess. He was like, that seems like a lot for 10 pages, because it was a novel idea. But I ended up being able to break it down and make it a 10-page script that everyone really liked, and they said it felt like, you know, the characters felt real, and it felt like a real story. And I think I worked harder to make characters that I wanted to sit with, and that's what I have here, except it's even changed since then. So this is a sapphic road trip romance called Finding Home Again. It has the worst name. I love it. It's so cheesy. I actually came up with the title when I was doing the short film, and I was like, I need like a Lifetime movie, just absolute cheesy title. And this is what I came up with. It is based on a road trip that I took from Los Angeles to Seattle. So I have a lot of pictures, like that's a photo that I took. Here's one. That's another photo that I took. And throughout the book, I actually peppered it with photos that I had taken at the locations that they're visiting. It's so different from what I normally write. Nobody dies. There's no supernatural elements. There aren't any witches or vampires or ghosts. And that's just so unlike me. That's not something that I tend to work with. at all. It's probably the closest that I have to something that I can send to somebody, but I just hesitate so much because it's not like any of the other manuscripts that I have, and I guess I worry about what would happen to my other stories. Like, do you get locked into a genre? I really don't know how it works. It is on the older YA crowd, I guess. My protagonist is driving up to college, and she wants to take her time with it. And she's in love with her childhood best friend, and they are driving up together. On the way, they pick up, my protagonist picks up her best friend's cousin who needs a ride, and they have a really rocky relationship, and my protagonist is determined to make her friends be friends again. It was fun. I really like it, but I'm not sure when it will be shown to people. I'm definitely going to work on it next once I finish the draft I'm on for the book I'm currently working on. I really want to polish this and then send it to somebody. I'm not sure who, but it's ready for a reader. Speaking of going into a very different direction, this was the result of the 2016 election, which I love the stark difference between the two of these. This is also something very different for me. While I did include a lot of supernatural elements, it's a post-apocalypse novel. My protagonist is incredibly stoic and serious, and she's like the manifestation of all of my anger, I guess. And that's very different for me to write. My protagonists in particular are usually kind of goofy and fun, and I love writing characters like that, so it was a little much. I was coming up with the plot of this one when The Power came out, and this has a similar premise. The Power, I never read it, but I think women around the world can electrocute people suddenly, and then the power has shifted. In this one, girls and women around the world can start and control fires very suddenly. However, a big difference is that I do talk about trans women and trans men and non-binary people, and like that's an important aspect of it. However, I do think I want to change that core idea. I still like the setting of this. It's a kind of near sci-fi post-apocalypse. There are like these kind of robot creatures. I was inspired a little bit by that one episode of Black Mirror that had those like creepy dog robots. I really liked that setting a lot, and so I kind of had a similar vibe to the setting. What I really wanted to talk about here wasn't how if women had the power that they would be just as evil. I think that's what The Power is about. I'm not sure. But what I really, really wanted to discuss was internalized misogyny and how women have to deal with that. There's so much you can talk about when you bring up misogyny, and I think that if you're writing about it, it's important to address these things, but it's also really important to, as we say, stay in your lane. And as far as misogyny goes, what I have experience in and what I feel like I can write about is what it's like to be a woman in a world that hates women, and kind of dealing with your own hatred of women and when you kind of discover it and what you do with that. And yeah, so that's kind of what it was about. A lot of the novel is women using their fire in order to help men out, or refusing to use it because they've been convinced that it's evil. And I think that's a little bit more how it would go. Again, I can only speak for America. I can only speak for my own country. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. However, I think I can explore these characters who I love. They all kind of meet while walking the Appalachian Trail, and I plotted it while I was hiking part of the Appalachian Trail. So I definitely still like that setting and still like the characters, but I think I can tell this story in a way that doesn't have a core idea that's so inherently transphobic. So I think I want to take that element out, which means obviously it's just I have to completely rewrite it, which I'm okay with, and I will tackle it one day when I'm, ready to do that. I've been rambling about this for so long. Let's get to what I'm actually working on, and that's Toxic Fandom, which is, my quick pitch for Toxic Fandom is always vampires at Comic-Con, which it kind of is, but also kind of isn't. I sort of based the convention more on BookNet Fest. I really love BookNet Fest. The creators of BookNet Fest strive really hard to make it this amazing and diverse place, and it's really for the fans. There are authors who go to BookNet Fest, but for the most part, it's for us readers and reviewers. And I wanted a convention that was for like fan artists and writers, and they still cosplay, but there aren't really actors there. Mostly I really wanted a smaller convention. I didn't want something as packed and crowded as Comic-Con, partially because I have never been to one and I don't have interest in it, because a crowd that large would not, no, I don't want to do that. But I do have experience in BookNet Fest, and I wanted to talk about that. I'm gonna get a little closer, which is hard to do. Okay, so at this, my protagonist is a vampire at this small convention that takes place in Providence, Rhode Island. She hasn't seen another vampire in 100 years, and she's meeting up with her online best friend there and sees that he's been turned into a vampire very, very recently. And as they're at the convention, more and more people are getting turned, and she's trying to figure out who's doing it and why. So, like I said, I started this one and realized it was going to be too short, so I added a point of view from a witch who recently had to kill a bunch of vampires because they killed her grandmother. And she's now going to this convention to unwind and hopefully never see another vampire again. Oh no. So that's kind of what's going on here. It's genuinely fun to write. It's full of pop culture. It's full of League of Legends, because I really love League of Legends. I don't know how much I'll be able to keep if it ever sees a publisher, but that's what I've got going on for now. Okay, those are my boards. I honestly, I haven't really showed them to people before. People who come into my office can look at them. I'm not embarrassed. They're not allowed to, they're allowed to see them. Yeah, also in general, just haven't really talked extensively about my novels. I get very shy about it, and when people ask me, I'm like, it's about a person, who's, and they do things, and like, I just don't know how to convey. I'm very bad at pitching my own work, and I think it's because, you know, the lack of confidence thing, and all of the ideas feel very stupid, and like, nobody's gonna want to read them, and I know that's not true, but anyway, in general, I like writing things that are really fun. My heroes always win. I kind of just want to put positive and light and funny content into the world, because I love reading comedy, and I think it's hard to find sometimes. Thank you if you stuck around for it. I'm going to bother Sarah and then probably have lunch soon, but we'll plot out some writing and hopefully I get that chapter done. None of them are dead. That's GG. I'm gonna die. Which worked out great at the beginning of the game and then went very downhill. Okay, hi, it's Monday. Just want to wrap this up. I think it went pretty well. I didn't write as much as I wanted to this weekend. Honey, these are my hair clips. You can't have them. But I think this was a good way to introduce writing on the channel. I think Sarah also wants to do some writing type videos. We'll kind of see how it goes. So maybe I'll keep updated. Maybe I'll do another one. My goal for this current draft is to finish it by August 1st. And if I do, John said he will take me away somewhere for the weekend. Just like a cabin with a fireplace and us where we can make s'mores. That's all I want. I definitely need deadlines, and I tend to work best at the last minute with them. So I don't feel too badly that I'm a little behind in terms of how far along I am in this draft right now. I'm more than halfway through, I would say, and I have like a month. So I also tend to get excited towards the end of a novel, and I'll work much faster. Anyway, hopefully I get some more like actual book content. I haven't been reading. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I'm at a point where I'm maybe reading a book a month, maybe, and that's pushing it. So I think this is going to be a very low reading year for me, and that's okay. So join me next time when I'm, who knows, when, where, why,